Hello, everybody. Today we're having a conversation with Jennifer King, and she's the head of marketing in Qubic. Jen had about 25 years in different corporations like Microsoft, Symantec, and Filecoin. And I'm certainly happy that Qubic is finally getting the talent on its roster. So, Jennifer, how are you this morning?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me, Retro. I'm calling in on we're on a Saturday morning, which I think is pretty cool, actually, us taking time to do this. So thank you for making time for me in your schedule.
Yeah, great to see you. And, Saturday is a relaxing day where we can just, have like a nice talk here. So
Qubic and chill.
that's right. Yeah, it's very similar to that. So I wanted to start, like in general, that Qubic, it's a community-run project. And sometimes there are disagreements between the community itself, the executive team, the validators who approve the budgets. So in such a governance model, like how do you navigate that? I mean, you're from a corporate world, and this must be a little unnerving for you.
Yeah, I am from a corporate world originally. I made the switch or the transition or got bridged over into Web3. It's about coming on 4 years now. So I've been working in ecosystems and Web3 marketing for a while. I'd have to say that this one is very different in that it is truly why I love Web3, and that is the democratization of management, of consensus, of quorum, as we all know in this sense. I would say it's not for the faint of heart for your traditional marketer, where we're used to hierarchies and top down and the way things are supposed to be done. It's not like that at all. But having worked in Web3 now for a few years, I'm used to having to work in the open, be fully transparent, be fully accountable to a lot of different constituents and people. And you have to take everyone's opinion back into the group and make sure everyone has a voice and that everyone also, you're over communicating. I would say the difficulty in this type of environment is that a lot of people, because it is so far reaching in so many countries and languages and time zones, a lot of people aren't up to date on what's happening. And so I think that's one of the challenges with this type of structure. So on one hand, I love it. On the other hand, I hate it. But I think overall, I'd say I really love the democracy of it all. So that's why I plan on sticking around Web3.
So is this level, let's say, of democracy is really new to you? Because I mean, from what I remember from Filecoin, they're more stable when it comes to the budgets, the decisions may be a little more centralized. This is, this is completely open, and there are always these squabbles. But at the end of the day, real good decisions and really good products come out of this.
Yeah, I fully agree. Yeah, so I think, I thought working out in the open and working in Slack channels was very transparent and something I had to adapt to coming out of Web 2. This is a whole nother level of everything happens in Discord. And everyone has a voice, and 676 votes. You have to get to 451 for quorum, and we've had our proposal rejected 3 times. I'm not used to that happening, so that's something I had to get used to. But I think overall, it's what's in service of what's best for the network. So I think it's a very smart model. I think it's still new. And so I think we're also just kind of getting our sea legs on how to work this way, all of us, and not to get caught up. I try not to stay in some of the channels and get caught up in the drama of it all, and really focus on, the things that I can control, the things that I can be accountable to, the community for, and operate with as much transparency as possible. So I'm learning it too. But yeah, this is very new to me. This level is next level.
No,
sure.
in many ways, being like deeply involved in this community and in this craziness, that's the big advantage and fun part of Qubic. Where every voice matters, like everybody has a say. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, you've been with Qubic for some time. You've been to Spain Hackathon, which everybody was impressed with. So far, like, what's your opinion? Like, what's the Qubic strength, and what should marketing really focus on if you were to pick one thing in Qubic's protocol?
Keeping up with the roadmap and the tech, I think. I know a lot of people have FOMO from the hackathon. I was so glad that I was able to go to meet so many people, so much passion coming from the students, the hackers themselves, all the way to the level of dedication it took working around the clock, seeing devs answering people at like 1 a.m. and influencers there running around all hours, keeping people going and reporting. I mean, it was great. So, I mean, that's the community, right? So the community right there itself, and the ambassadors and the power of the people that believe is the number one thing that Qubic has going for it, next to the technology. The technology is mind blowing. In fact, it's so ahead of anything else that, when I speak with Joe Tum and the work that he's doing and his team is doing, it's stuff that's never been done before. It truly is pioneering work. And I hate that term, but it really is pioneering work. And there's so many gifts that are coming from a marketing perspective that I'm being given based on this technology. And then, with folks like Albert, working, and Foley working on a bunch of testing that marketing is now going to be able to go in and make some pretty bold, kick-ass claims. It's a marketer's dream. So I think having this type of technology in one way is a bit, makes you a little seasick from a marketing standpoint, because you can't always count on things being delivered on time or predictably, because they're doing stuff that's never been done before. So you can't measure and say, yeah, sure, we're going to launch this in June. No, it's more like we'll launch it in, Q2 or Q3. It's broad. So it's kind of hard to plan that way. It's hard to budget that way, to make sure that you're ready, at the ready to do these announcements and amplify the roadmap properly. So I'd say following the tech is the best thing. Being glued to the roadmap is what's going to make us successful. And really hiring and attracting talent is difficult in this environment as well. But I'll say that the people that we have are athletes at what they do. They're very flexible. They are very good at being nimble, and they work all hours. That's the different thing about Web3 too and Qubic, is people work all the time. It's not like Web2 where it's 9 to 5.
All right. Okay, so I'm sure you remember we had this unfortunate run-in with one of the KOLs, and that didn't go well. Qubic lost money. Hello, Miles. Anyway, what are your thoughts on key opinion leaders, KOLs? Are we going to use them in the future? Because I mean, realistically, one bad experience shouldn't exclude us from just looking that way. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't there to be in the weeds with all of it. I would welcome people to take a look at our proposal that QCS put forward, where we actually have a postmortem on it if you want the facts of what happened. I think it's just like when people look at some bad event that happens in crypto, that all crypto's shady. That's not the case. It's just one bad actor. And unfortunately, our first massive investment was with a bad actor. So I share your sentiment in that we shouldn't run away from it altogether. I just think we have to be a lot more thoughtful and, take some learnings from the Web2 world, where we do more due diligence and involve lawyers in contracts and have contracts with teeth, and not rush into anything, go forward. So yeah, I think that there's a room definitely to have KOLs again. We've had some ones that are, operating on small projects for us, like Millie, amazing collaborator, amazing human. She just lights up a room. She's so fucking talented, really. And I just love following her. So, I mean, people like that are going to really help us with the, what we want to do. I just don't think I think you're going to see me be very cautious and test things with small increments and learning before I start making massive investments. I'm pretty conservative that way. I'm happy to fail, but I don't want to be failing at that scale.
Okay, so good to hear you. Like you're not opposed to calls. It's just the wounds need to heal, I guess.
Everyone needs to heal. There need to be some accountability. Yeah, I think also just making sure that people are really, a lot of people are involved in the decision is going to help as well, which is the beauty of our model. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so there's been quite a bit of mess, as you mentioned, with approving the marketing proposals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And finally, from what I've seen, I think we have a solid one. Like when I reviewed it a couple of days ago, like I was very excited. And I want to go over a few points on that proposal, ask some specific questions regarding certain things that you're going to implement.
Cool, let's do it. Yeah. Do you have a slide?
Yeah, let me share that.
Awesome.
Let's see. All right. Do you see that?
Okay. I can see it. Yep. This is the marketing timeline. Okay. To set the stage on why this view, I had a one-on-one with Jotam. We now have weekly ones, and he gave me some guidance that just said, marketing doing what I call like ta-da moments and not being clear as to what is your baseline always on, just like running a dev team. Like this is what it costs to operate on a monthly basis, and then what are the projects that are shipping and how much money do you need for those specific projects? So this is the slide that I put together to try and illustrate that approach, which is the always on versus, what will actually ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question here I have is branding the website and the socials. And I remember you've mentioned that you work with Dr. Mm-hmm. Sanchez on that. Mm-hmm. Are you not happy with the current branding? That's first question. Second one is, why Dr. Sanchez? Because I know him as, an AI, specialist.
Yep.
And what else did I want to ask you there?
Why don't I start there?
What does it entail exactly, the change of branding and marketing?
Okay, sure. So, it's kind of cliche for a new marketing lead to come in and say, we're rebranding. Everyone does it. It's not an entire rebrand. I think that the brand that we have right now is good enough as a foundation. I just find that it doesn't really convey the story of Qubic and the different audiences that we're trying to reach. Right now, it's just one brand for everyone, and it's pretty flat. And it's not, the messaging and the storytelling and even the visuals are flat, and they're not tailored to specific audiences. And what I mean that is, one of the things we need to do as a marketing team is go and tell the stories of the network and showcase things like AI projects and AGARTH and what's coming on that roadmap. You could do some really cool stuff there. And that's an always on thought leadership piece. But then we also need to be educating and having the academy, which would have a different look and feel. We need to be attracting investors, which is a very different content. And again, a different look and feel. So I'm thinking that we can grow the brand. Brands are living things, and it's just, we need to take it to the next level. And I think also start leveraging some of the creativity of our community. There's some amazing stuff. One of the challenges I would note as a Web3 marketing lead is having an open brand. Having a completely open brand is a very interesting to like let go of the wheel and see what the community comes back with. And I don't think we've done enough of that to showcase that talent. And also, I think the Forget What You Know campaign was a great start. I just don't think that we finished the sentence of this is what you need to know now. And I think we have some very cool stuff, and I'm not supposed to say because I embargoed it myself, but there are going to be some huge claims coming out. And this budget in here, you'll see it as the Certic Signal campaign. You're going to start to see signal campaigns that are market signals. That I think the ecosystem is going to be pretty excited about, but it can't be boring, and it needs to be much more interactive.
Oh yeah.
So why Jose?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like marketing cannot be boring. Like
No.
the X account, the YouTube, all the channels, they need a little bit of flair to
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like as it is right now, it's little,
Yeah. So I would say also, we've been small, and I always like to say no marketers prior to me should be harmed in the making of these statements. The team has been amazing, and we've recently had to make some changes that were really hard to do. But I think it's going to allow us to bring in a bunch of people to help with our socials who are willing to volunteer and help out, so that we are publishing across channels, different languages, different perspectives, and being very responsive. I think right now we're kind of promo based, and I think we need to also be engaging more. So I think hopefully with more people to help out with that, that'll be a change there too.
No, it's great, and that's the idea of this governance model, where people sometimes need to, there needs to be a certain turnover in the protocol, where no matter how good a person doing the job is, if it's a creative job, at one point people just get, end up not having fresh ideas, and that's with everybody. So it's always great to have somebody new come in with fresh ideas and implement something, and just completely refresh everything in the message. Okay, so
it's exciting. Yeah.
So the next question is the ambassador program. So, I mean, I'm a part of it. I'm one of the leads, and right now, we're doing our posts. We're trying to make some connections with the universities and other entities, businesses. But it's not streamlined. There isn't a centralized message that we need to carry. And I'm seeing here that you have this hackathon in a box. So from what I understand, it would help us to set up a hackathon at, let's say, a university. Can you tell me what's in the box?
Well, I'm going to need your help with that. Well, so one of the things that I like to do, and I've done this program with the Filecoin project and other Web3 projects as well as Web2, which is it's basically a channel program. And you have to put yourself in the shoes of, if I was going to go out and approach a dean or a prof or someone to recruit them to allow me to not only be interested in the project, but allow me to use their facilities and bring their students in and, et cetera, with the hope of having a longer term relationship and actually start to run it as an incubation program, or even better yet, lease our compute, which would be fantastic. Like, how do you go about doing that? So it's reverse engineering from that state, all those different things that you need. You need an email or a LinkedIn or an X post just to open the conversation and sound intelligent and hook their interest. But then they're going to say, well, great, send me some information on it. So we need to provide that kit of what does it entail? What is the ask? Everything that you would need in a box in order to have that engagement from the beginning all the way through to the presentation deck, the award deck, how you go with the flow, social tiles, everything you need to know, like a checklist, a know before you go, landing pages that we can co-brand for you, all those different things that you would have in a toolkit that you would need to run it. And I think also, we're also going to have some funding available to help out. So once we get the in a box started and we start to figure out what this looks like with a few, pilot programs, I think becoming more prescriptive and providing the ambassadors a little extra cubic for going this far and going the extra mile as a bounty, but also to help to offset some of the costs is important too. So it's not just the cost of budget, but it's also the cost of providing folks on the ground, having a marketer on site, helping to potentially fund content generation and editing, things like that. So I think those are the things that I need to work with you, as part of the ambassador team and the ambassador team on a whole, as to how we can best put together this program and fill in the gaps. So there's going to be a lot of closed loop feedback on it, and probably some workshopping. But the idea is that this becomes, very systematic and almost military in the way we execute.
No, I think it's absolutely great to have kind of a pre-made messages, because a lot of our communities, they want to do something, but they don't even know how to start, and this will help them out a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's hard, and until you try doing it yourself, you don't know the gaps. So,
all right. So here, this is not a question. We'll get back to the questions, but I kind of wanted to share, how the current management utilizes the budgets that are assigned to them right now by the computers or validators. And then we'll come back to the questions later. It's kind of a little informational break, so to say. Let me share the screen again. So again, so I'll start with this. I've been in crypto for 10 years, since 2016. And I mean, it goes as far as buying Cardano at IPO in Japan, like ICO.
okay,
Like,
that's awesome. I hope you have Bitcoin too.
Well, yeah, I wasn't there for that, unfortunately. Not like our founder, who is like third wallet to mine Bitcoin, which is a whole separate story. But
that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
No, but I've never been in a project where it's that decentralized and in a way of governance, especially. And obviously, it comes with a lot of headaches, especially for you. I mean, you're on your third, or is it fourth marketing proposal?
Yeah.
So
a lot.
There are headaches, but at the same time, it's whether it's a third or a fourth proposal, it's better than the other two. It's if the large team doesn't like something, they'll tell you, you'll know, and you'll improve. And nowhere in business there are such models. And here's the thing: like think of like Elon Musk and his Dodge committee, right? They're trying to review the government, and they have this website where they put out the live statistics of how they are doing. And it's the same with the current management in Qubic, but it's even more involved. There is like a dashboard where you can see every little transaction, every spend, everything explained. Let me share that to kind of show the audience, because many don't even know about that. Let's see.
And I'm going to screw up the handle of the architect of this beautiful report. I'm always like, is it Z-Greet? Is it Zigrit? Is it Zgurt? I don't know. All I know is he's genius and badass, and we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, so he just whipped this up. Like, normally in enterprise, it would take like 6 months to launch something like this in a committee, and he was just like, let me get on that, and he did it.
Yeah, he's like that. Amazing guy, actually.
Yeah, just an amazing human and super smart. And so this is full transparency, wallet activity of where things go. Let
me go over this real quick. And for the audience to know, is when a management team requests some money from the protocol, there is this dashboard where it just shows where it's being spent, how, so that the community and the validators who provide the money can see what's going on. And this is live. It's not like publicly traded companies that get to report, 4 times a year, quarterly, and they get to, in the process, hide a lot of things. No, this is live, and anybody in the community can just ask, oh, what's this transfer? What is this spend? And they'll get their answer. There's nobody, nowhere in any business that is doing anything like this. So look, this is like the budget spent for February, for example, right? February 2025. Look, here are all the transactions: expenses, travel, software, salaries. Everything is here, happening live. Let's see. There is this thing. So earlier I showed you what the goals are for the next few months for marketing. Well, here is how it's going to get programmed and how it's going to get tracked, which is amazing. I mean, this is what community gets to see. And so, Jen, do you think something like this will ever be adopted in the real world, like in the corporate world?
I hope so. I mean, I think at the core, why I've succeeded, with boards and management teams, and or even just getting consensus in the corporate world, was through transparency. But we had to use a lot of tools, and it's a lot of back and forth. And there's some storytelling that can go on. This is black and white. So, I plan on adopting this type of thing. Maybe it's going to be a side hustle for him, but the fact that he put this together and it operates off a wallet is genius. So I hope that we all do that. I think a lot of the Falcon Foundation does a similar thing where they they have a open budget where they share, but it's not like to this level where it's per tick, like by the second you can see it.
Yeah, so myself as a member, like new member of a community, I can't come to Filecoin Discord and ask these questions. I'm probably like, am I gonna get this answer in Filecoin?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you'll get good answers and you'll get great project information, but it's not this type of a live dashboard. No.
Yeah, even in most crypto projects, it's kind of none of your business type of answer,
It is none of your business. And I think that's an interesting thing too, in that with QCS, we've had to go and get an entity. And, as one of the folks that work in QCS, as a QCS lead, I am the face of a lot of things like Qubic, but I also take on the risk with the financials. Everything's on personal credit cards. That's pretty weird even for startups. So now that we have an entity, we can start to, we can connect a wallet, and then that credit card and that wallet will be live in that dashboard as well. And I don't think that's something I've ever seen. So it's going to be cool to see how it evolves. I hope the community gives us feedback on, improving it.
All right. Okay. So kind of an important question here. So AI Garth, the AI that's being built at the moment, it's a complete black box. And I can understand why, because it's new, it's being developed. There are certain secrets that are trade secrets that are being created. So I understand how, like, the internals of it is a black box. It should be. Are you going to push for more updates on that effort? Because it's a completely separate team. It's the founder who is leading this. And it's not even on the current timeline. So my question is, are you going to push for more transparency, and whether you think you can get it?
Yeah, I haven't tackled that one right now. I'm just trying to get a budget through. So, I have a job next week and everyone else. But yeah, I agree. It is a black box. It's also so fascinating. I think that for now, we're going to leverage the scientists, and so Dr. Jose Sanchez, Dr. Vivancos, I think really getting into the scientific community and getting them access and understanding more about the possibility. I think there's a really important conversation that needs to happen around the democratization of AI. I'm very passionate about that, and I'm very aware of how time sensitive this is, and it's going to be interesting to see how the role that Qubic plays in all of this. And I know that we have different talent on the teams working with Albert, like Daniel, who works with folks from UNESCO, and lots of different contributors out there and companies out there that are really concerned about this. And I think that's where we can start to have a voice and a narrative around the role of Qubic, and being part of the story, and being a name, a brand, whatever you want to call it, a project that comes up when you think AI. That's my job. How deep I can go, how, with what CFB is doing or what's happening, I'm not sure, but I think all will be revealed, and as it does, we'll be ready for it. But I think right now there's some very important conversations that Qubic should be part of, and I think the people that are active and are participating, and that we will have on stages, budget willing, this year and into next year, I think you're going to see a lot of that come out. And we need to start doing more publishing. You know, we did the one white paper. I think there's a lot that we can be publishing that is important. I don't think we have to hold our breath for big releases. I think we can be doing a lot more, like almost on a weekly basis on the perspective. Does that sound more in line what you mean?
Yeah, and I mean, from what I've heard, is David Vivancos at the end of the month will shed some light on AI, Garth, at one of the conferences in Singapore.
Yes.
And also, from what I've heard, there's the scientific white paper is being expanded right now, as well as there is, like, to me, it's a rumor, but from what I've heard, there is an MIT professor doing a peer review of it. Don't hold me to it. That's what I've heard. So
you know more than I do. That's interesting.
Maybe I'm just, I don't know what I'm talking about. We'll see. So, all right. So on social media and Discord, everywhere, there are competitors. There are groups that don't like what Qubic team is doing. And that's normal. It will always be the case with any project. So you get FUD. How do you fight that? Like, is there some sort of damage control when people just start to trash the project?
So for me personally, this is something that goes back to when I used to run comms for some massive, corporations with, 40,000 employees that would run infrastructure as a service and data centers and cloud, and stuff would go down and people would create a lot of nasty noise out there. You do need to address specific issues and be accountable when there is truly something that goes wrong, a mistake being made, something that is actionable. And I will always speak to people that are being reasonable and they're talking about things that are actionable. What I don't do is validate haters or people that are just creating FUD. They're basically just being social terrorists, and I'm not interested in that. I don't have time for that. I have a job to do, and I don't need to babysit people that are part of like a treehouse club. I'm a professional, so if you want to have a professional conversation with me, I would love. I guess that was my frustration also with the proposal being rejected so many times, and I'm hoping now that it's been separated out as a line item, I want the feedback. I love the feedback and I want people to ask questions. And that's why, I wanted to do this chat with you. I think it's really important, but just slinging stupid stuff. Yeah, I don't have time for that. And I will not respond.
No, it's probably a great approach because it's crypto. Price is down, everything is bad. Price ticks up a little bit over in the bull market where we will 100,000x. So I understand your position.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, wow, people think marketing have massive reach given that I've completely transformed the entire US and global markets, so not really. But yeah, I'm welcome anyone to speak publicly in a channel or in a DM with me anytime. But and if you think there's something that I should be talking about or responding to, I'm open to that as well, because I don't go into all the channels all the time because you could go crazy with that.
No, I mean this is why we're having this interview is certain things like never been addressed, and I'm asking those things, and you're responding in a way that it's a conversation and not like some predetermined, pre-written, marketing piece. And that's great.
Cool.
So I don't know if you can, but tell us something we don't know, like generally about Qubic, maybe some news, maybe some speculations.
Something we don't know.
Well, I'm a general community.
It's embargoed right now. I think the community doesn't know that it was the marketing team that's ran the Certic speed test. I didn't know that. I thought that was something that came out of, usually that comes out of tech or like ecosystem devs, but I didn't know that this was actually a marketing campaign, like a marketing program, marketing budget, marketing led. Now, obviously, very well orchestrated and coordinated with core tech, because otherwise, there is no test because it's a technology test. But I think it's important that people know that marketing dollars, the programs that I'm asking about is this type of thing, is these really important reports that in a Web2 world would be considered like comparable to Gartner or Forrester or any of the, the big research houses. The testing we're doing is actually being covered by marketing dollars. So when you look at the spend in February, that's the dollars. Pretty sure it's February. I'll have to ask fully, but for example. So I think a lot of people think, oh, marketing platform, like what does that even mean? We really are the face of Qubic. And I think we've seen a dip. We were going from 100,000 followers on Twitter or on X. And then when we stopped being loud over the last month, where we've been focused on getting this budget rewritten, getting it forward, working on the proposals in the background, working on different things, we saw a drop. And I think we're now in like the 90K range maybe. But so it's an interesting experiment to see the effect that marketing does have. But I think that's what's really important, is we do operate in the background a lot. And I think my commitment is to operate in the light more so for everybody.
Great. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this would be the last question that, first a statement that I think Qubic is at the point where it kind of it's ready to break out price-wise and marketing-wise. People really need to start learning about this, because based on this market cap, I mean, Qubic is insanely undervalued right now. I mean, I'm just like kind of happy at the same time that I get to buy at these prices. But Qubic is ready to get pushed out there with correct marketing, correct team. There's been a giant overhaul in the Qubic team recently. And I really hope that the current proposals get approved, because without it, I don't know where we're going, to be honest. So any last words for this interview?
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure. It's always great to get a chance to speak with you, since you made the trek to come see me when I was in Florida my first week. I think it was my first week, like my first day even. I really appreciate the work you do and the work that ambassadors do. I think we can do a better job of supporting you. We'll get there together with things in a box. And yeah, I don't know what it means if the proposal doesn't get passed. We haven't been here before where we've split them out. So that'll be interesting as well, because we are so deeply integrated together at QCS. So even though we've broken the proposals out, I'm not sure what that's going to lead to. But I'm looking forward to Quorum on Wednesday, and I just want to do good work. So I'm hoping to get to do it.
Yep. Well, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. So I hope you have a great Saturday.
Thanks so much. You take care, Retro.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Stop. We did it.
Nice. Yeah. What do you think?
Excellent.